Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and today we have the first event of 2022 for Dragon Ball Super. It is the Carta MAgica Webcam Regional that happened this past weekend, and I was also the commentator for this event, so I do have a little bit more like on the ground, coverage and everything else for this event too. So first, shout outs to Carta MAgica for running this event, for giving me these deck lists, for letting me commentate. Super nice of them. It was a great event, went super smooth. And make sure to follow them on Facebook too, not only for some more infographics and stuff, but for notifications for their future events and everything else. But looking at these deck lists, we do have this top 16 for you, and we have 11 different leaders. And this is a new set, and this is also a new ban list too. So like no Cell Surge, no Higher Dragon. And it's pretty diverse, I'd say. There are a lot of decks that are doing well, and just a whole lot of range of stuff, which is really cool to see. And so we have King Piccolo taking it with Marcel Russell. That got first. But just looking at the leader breakdown as well, we have a 3 Universe 7 Goku, the most popular one, and also probably one of the most popular leaders run. Gogeta Xeno got 2 spots of it, 2 for King Piccolo, 2 Aandroidd 16s, a single Trunks and Vegeta, a single Syn Shenron, 1 Janemba Mill, 1 Broly swap, 1 Syn Xeno, a Soul Striker reboot, and Aandroidd 18. And I will say Soul Striker, that was probably, I think, the second most popular leader for this, and it only got 1 top 16 spot. So that's kind of interesting to see. But yeah, we're going to go over quickly some of the leaders. We're going to go one over one of each, pretty much, though my knowledge will vary a little bit from it. So if there are videos for that, please let me know. I'll link them to this document. Also, this document is in the description of this video too. So if you guys don't want to hear me blab about it, just make sure to hit the like button on this video, and then you guys will have access to this drive. So there we go. But let's jump on into it. So we've got Marcel Russell's list here. Pretty standard, I'd say, for King Piccolo. It's been, pretty popular for a while. Obviously, we do have Drum and King Piccolo limited to 1 over the time, but nothing too crazy from there. This Piccolo Junior Unison is still very, very good for where we're at. I think the newest tech that this deck is using is this Vegeta Resolve Renewed, and it's super funny because this came out in the anniversary box of 2020. And it just sat there for like a year and a half. And then people are like, hey, is this card good? And like, oh yeah, this card is really good. So it's, if the battle card being played is 15 power less, it's placed in its owner's drop area, then play this card. So it's just like, it's almost like one of those multicolor counters, but it only costs 1. It prevents on-play autos because it sends it to the drop. It's very good on offense and defense because Mecha Frieza is such a popular card to try to stop this deck from going off, that you can just say, all right, for 1, I'll prevent you from mecha freezing me, and then I can keep going on. So really good card for this, and it's really interesting how long it took for that card to take place in this meta. But everything else, I'd say, is pretty standard. Marcel Russell, definitely a fantastic aggressive aggro player, and showing it off with this list and this finish. Moving on, we do have this second place Future Trunks list. This is probably one of the top 3 decks from the new set that was on my radar. So we only did see 1, and in general, we didn't see a lot of people play this list. I think we were about 10 or so people brought it. But I think part of the reason, 1, we do have this Vegeta promo that, obviously the set, the format just started, so it's not super duper available, but that is 1 card for it. And honestly, people are kind of speculating how good yellow is right now. Obviously, we did get this limited to 1 as well. And but I think the deck itself is still pretty strong. It is expensive too. I know these Gokus are still expensive. Turtles is still expensive. Mecha Frieza is still expensive. So there are some price points for this list. But in general, I think this is somewhere fixing the gap where, Higher Dragon's kind of left meta a little bit. People weren't trusting to play it anymore. And so this is like the next new yellow deck to try out. And I think it does have a lot of good interactions. It does have some good plays. This Trunks is super good at, being a poutine with blocker, which is fantastic. And just all the other like yellow tools you're able to run with this. So there we go there. Moving on, we do have a Universe 7 Goku. This is the 3rd place list from Briar, I believe that's how you pronounce it. If not, let me know. But yeah, we see a lot of these Goku lists, and I would say, in general, some things to say about them. 1, most of them run at least 55 cards, if not 60. 2, I'd say like at least half the deck is about the same. A lot of people running through this Goku. 4 of this Goku, 3 of the big boy, 4 Android 17, 4 Friezas, 4 Vegetas, 4 of the Golden Frieza, 4 like most of that, half the deck builds itself just because there's some really good staples from there and kind of go from there. The kind of interesting thing, so one, they're running Jiren as their unison instead. A lot of people I think were running like either King Piccolo or like there was even some Syn Shenrons, and Syn Shenron just kind of like can do that additional hand rip, which can be really important. And then going from there, I think Koisekai was also a really popular pick for most of these Universe 7 Gokus. This gets around like the tax where this can't warp cards because this goes from drop area to remove from game. So you can still activate this card. You can prevent a lot of counterplays, or at least make counterplays more expensive for your opponents, and just kind of go from there. So I'm surprised they only ran one. I would think like 2 or 3, but very good card and tech there. And also their secret rare was the Gohanks. This is also a really cool call, being able to, I mean, like it's essentially another Goku, just pops anything with 25k or less, which, this Goku does pop a lot of things, but doesn't get around barrier. So being able to do that, and if you can just wait till turn 5 to pop it, you also get a dual attack blocker with triple strike and 40k, and that can win you like game. And I'm sure that won a couple games that weekend as well. So here's this list. Obviously, I think this is a list that a lot of people are bumping around, having their own takes on as well. There's 2 others in this document too for you guys to look at as well. But it's I think it's a really popular list. A lot of people are going to be playing it. So if you don't like playing it, at least know how it works. Moving on, we do have, this is Brandl's Gogeta Xeno, and this is the the pizza time, just because he got, according to him, a lot of like 10 to 15 minute wins, so he can, the idea is you can put a pizza in the oven at the beginning of the round, and then you can get it out of the oven before it burns by winning with this deck. So, Gogeta Xeno has been seeing a lot of play in the last couple of months. Obviously, it got second at Worlds. It got like a minor hit. This is like the only hit it got that this got, unique now. But that is it. It's pretty much still full power. It's still a very, very strong deck at what it's doing. Brandl's a great pilot. And going from there, some new tools it got with pretty much just the support of the Dark Empire. Being able to have a blocker negate like all the other colors is really good. We also have like the Super Saiyan God Trunks. Only has a 1-of, but this can like do some, additional pressure and get kind of played for free as well. And nothing too fancy there. Using the Mirror Dimensional Superpower Unison as well. I don't think this is as popular of Unison in the last couple of weeks, but this can attack if you have 2 of your markers on it, but +1, you choose 1 card from your hand at center of your warp, then draw 1, and then -2 for each card in your warp. This gets +5k power for the battle. So there we go. Like the only thing that this lost was like also like that Trunks that you get like the occasional +1 at, which was I thought needed to go, but wasn't like broken. It like the interaction was broken enough to get banned, but it wasn't like the reason it was winning. It was just like a little +1 that helped you get more combo power. So yeah, I don't know. This is a good deck, and I think it's not going anywhere anytime soon. All right, Syn Shenron, talking about good decks that aren't going anywhere. This is Alejandro Torres's list, a fellow Arizonian, and ran this. This is also X1 for this. This is the in the finals match. It ended up getting 6th place with tiebreakers, but only lost to Marcel Russell at the end. Still a very obnoxious list. I'm going to just be honest. I do not like playing against Syn Shenron. It is obnoxious. Obviously, this has seen a lot of variations over the last, almost 2 years. It came out in set 10, right? So that was summer of 2020. So it's been out for a while. Obviously has been getting support pretty regularly since then. It's gone from like a control heavy deck to a combo heavy deck to back to this control heavy deck. And it's just super strong. Like the active main for this leader being 6 energy to just play all your dudes is so good. Even if you tap out, there's like a lot of value from all the cards you get. Obviously, the Big Daddy Shenron is so annoying. Being able to be kind of like a cold bloodlust on anything that's not an on-play auto is super good. It's super cheap to get out. It doesn't really have any actual protection, but man, it is obnoxious to get rid of too, because your opponent gets like card advantage for it and everything else. And yeah, just a really, really strong deck for what you're doing. I don't know if Syn's going to do anything. I think the active main should maybe be like a once per game, because like if you're able to just keep doing it from turn 6 on, you just feel really good. And yeah, it's just a strong leader. And especially like in a format where there aren't, food doesn't exist anymore, that you don't mind going late game as much. It's a very very strong list. So I don't think it got really anything from the new set. I think the only tech was what the Realm of the Gods Black Kamehameha and like the Syn Shenron Xeno as well, but that's about it. Moving on, we do have Alexis Mendez Janemba Mill. There's also a link, at least when this document's made, in the column for a interview with him. So make sure to check that out instead of hearing me ramble about it. I don't really have much to say. I just know Mill is still very good. It's just a really consistent archetype. And so I think at the beginning of any format, you're going to see people playing Mill just because, you know, nothing is very standard yet. A lot of people are trying new stuff out. And this is just a deck that will always have a potential to win and punish people, especially with, you know, the game as it is, how much card draw we have and everything else, how super combos work, how like a lot of searching works. It's very good, especially there's, you know, still some new decks that, you know, burst or warp to their, you know, warp when swinging and stuff like that. And it just makes your, you know, your game a lot easier. But make sure to check out that video. Congrats to Alexis. And then we do have a Broly swap, another deck that continues to survive every once in a while. The only new card we see from here is, and this is Caban's, is the one of the Realm of the Gods Ultra Instinct. And that is about it. But this is like the closest thing I think right now we have to like an aggro hand destruction list, since, you know, Hell Surge is gone and apparently not coming back, as a tear rolls down my face. But yeah, very obnoxious. When it works, it works. It's very aggressive, pretty linear, but that's not too big of a deal. And obviously when you're playing these, you know, mid-range decks that, you know, new people are trying out and playing, this is a very good counter to that. So I think it's a good meta call for this tournament. I think moving forward it might not be, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But very congrats to Caban. Moving on, we have Aandroidd 16. Obviously has been seeing a huge spark of you know, just a huge increase of people playing it since Jared Lopez got his Worlds invite with it. Still fantastic from what I've seen. It's just very obnoxious, very pilot heavy, but having like a blue-green deck that has like hand destruction, but also has like immunity to hand destruction, just is really flexible in what you're doing. It's a fantastic list. I think a lot of people are still going to be playing it, and it's super fun. It's really heartwarming for me to see like a deck that just kind of sat there and did nothing, even though someone thought it was super powerful and was like, all right, I'm going to prove it to you guys. You guys should be playing it. And then they're completely right. And now it's still top, and 2 decks got top 16 with this. So this is personally Derek Drake's version of it. But yeah, I think it's still going to be great and people are going to still be playing it. Moving on, we do have Syn Shenron Xeno. I've got literally nothing to say about this deck because it is a lot of text. You guys can do your own interpretation. I am not qualified to talk about this list. It is a mill list. I think that's good enough for what it is right now. I hope Sharon makes a video on their deck list, though, just so they can go over it. If they want to do it on my channel, reach out to me, baby. I will do it for you, because I need to know how this deck works, because I simply do not. But congratulations there, and I wish I probably could spend a whole video going over this, and I do not have the time for that. So moving on, we do have Zach Egner's Soul Striker, the only Soul Striker, and also a Invoker version of it. So really cool to see that. You know, obviously I think a lot of people, including myself, are more leaning to the blue-yellow version of it, especially with like the new Kefla and the like Great Priest Unison and everything else. I think is a very strong list. But this is the blue red one, and you know, obviously people have been talking about Invoker with the new Android 17 Unison, or sorry, not Unison, battle card that gives your leader Invoker. But I think Soul Striker is still a very good Invoker target. I know like it's been splashed, that like the package has been splashed in a lot of things, including like Launch for a while too, and everything else. But I think the reason you'd play this with Soul Striker instead of the like the Surge leader is this just gets a little bit more advantage. Like this is a more flexible leader for it. Obviously you can't go as hard into like the Invoker plays, but it's very strong. And so, you know, the biggest thing is that this has an errata to limit 1 on its activate main. But I saw the end of one of the games specifically, and they're just able to get 2 of these Ultra Instinct Gokus out at the same time, and then just use the 1 catastrophic blow, and then you're just able to pop it. So very strong there. I think it's in a good spot. Running some coolers as well. Running one of the new event pack 3, or sorry, 2021 champ pack 3 coolers as well to get that advantage. So that's cool. And I think that is all I have to say to this. So congrats for there, and especially with Soul Striker. Soul Striker once again was like, I think it was the second most popular leader for the event, and this is the only list at top 16. So very interesting. And then lastly, we do have Aandroidd 18 tied for 15th place. There were a bunch of ties in this format, especially since there are no draws anymore with the new manual. So. But this is a really interesting list. Also, spoilers, this I don't think it was this list specifically, but Aandroidd 18 Mill did get first place at the core TCG tournament that we'll be dropping a video on tomorrow as of this video dropping. So really interesting. If you don't know how the combo works, essentially what you do is you give your opponent a bunch of your tokens for free, and then you play your Mecha Frieza, and then when this attacks, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Barry, get minus 30k power for the duration of the turn. So if your opponent has, and then also when the power of one of your opponent's battle cards is increased, your opponent places 2 cards from the top of the deck into their drop area. So if they've got 10 tokens, they mill 20 cards, and that is just like a low end of that. So just the idea of the deck being able to be very mill focused and just kind of do like one big swing to kind of end it. Obviously, there's ways to interact with it, but like I think the new tech is that you have Baby the Unknown Parasite, and then from there you're able to use your Baby Golden Avenger for free as a counter to prevent your opponent from doing things, and you have Trunks counterplays too. Like there's just a lot of ways to guarantee your stuff, and then also you have Oceanus being able to just prevent your opponent from attacking. They do a lot of milling for you for free, which is nice, and I think that kind of helps out. But that is going to be all of the lists we talk about today. Again, if you guys want to see all of them, make sure to go to the description of this video. There is a link to this list here. Once again, shout outs to Carta MAgica for giving me these lists and for hosting the event. It was super fun, and that's going to be it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any of these videos for these other deck lists, please let me know. I'll add them to the forum, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it.